Thank you, everyone. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share our work. My name is Jia Guo, a postdoc researcher of TUN and work with Costas. And the topic of this study is from user perspective, we would like to know how public perceptions and other subjective factors of the autonomous buses would influence people's willingness to use such new transportation mode and also would recommend the service to other people. The work is cooperated with Professor Yusek Sosilo from Vienna and Anna from ITRL, Integrated Transport Research Lab of KTH. This presentation is based on two papers, one published in Sustainability this year, and the other is under review. My presentation will have these contents. First, I will begin with the research background, aim, and objectives, and then introduce our study area, experimental design, and data collection. And then I will spend some time on methods and results, and lastly, we'll conclude some limitation and future recommendations. Vehicle automation technology has received great attention these decades and has many benefits to improve the current transport system, such as improving road safety, increasing service reliability and security, and also can lowering operating costs. The potential benefits of the new technology are not limited to private cars, but also may extend to public transport system. Also, the introduction of the vehicle automation technology into the current bus system has potential impacts on mobility behaviors and will complement the conventional bus service in the future. Previous studies found that vehicle automation technology brings benefits to the public transport system. However, transition to the new bus system is only possible if the new bus mode is accepted and used by the public. In these decades, previous studies have examined users' perceptions of the autonomous buses. However, the majority of these studies are based on the hypothetical scenarios, but not based on the real observations. And without personal riding experiences, it is not easy for respondents to provide their actual opinions or feelings of the new bus mode. So to fill this research gap, focusing on real life experiences, we were interested in knowing who were the early adopters of the autonomous buses and how autonomous bus operators and people who did not took the bus assess their perceptions towards the new bus mode, and how these attitudinal factors would influence the behavior intention of the autonomous bus. Moreover, personal communication is one of the most important marketing strategy to increase the market share of this new bus mode. So another aim of this research is to understand how such subjective factors would influence users' willingness to recommend the service to other people. The data used in this study were collected through an online survey in Barkarby in Stockholm. Barkarby is one of the largest housing development area in the Northern Europe. And since October in 2018, autonomous buses has operated in Barkarby. The speed of the bus is around 12 kilometers per hour in 2019. The length of the route is 2.5 kilometers also in 2019. And the bus route in this year is doubled. Currently, there is an operator on board. The autonomous buses in Barkarby focus on the first and last mile service. So the new mode is not to compete with the existing public transportation mode, but to complement the conventional bus. And to investigate public's perception from real autonomous buses, respondents were recruited among people who either live or work along the bus line in Bakabi. And 3 waves of panel data were collected in March, September, and December in 2019, respectively. Wave 1 have 518 respondents. Wave 2 have 573 respondents. And wave 3 have 560 respondents. Each wave we have around 100 new respondents. And in total, 316 people finished all 3 waves. And in the first wave, respondents were answered a series of 5-point Likert scale questions related to their perceptions towards the autonomous buses. And also they were asked whether they had taken the bus before, and also if they would like to use the bus in the future or not. And in the second wave, besides the information collected in the first wave, respondents also answered a series of Likert scale questions related to their attitudes, subjective norms, and travel needs towards the autonomous bus, and whether they plan to use the autonomous bus and the willingness to recommend the service to other people. And in the third wave, we collect the same questions about public's perceptions, behavior intentions, and the actual use of the autonomous buses. And besides that, we design a series of stated preference experiments. Here shows some descriptive analysis. The wave 1 data shows that about 87% people said they have seen the autonomous bus in Bakabi themselves, while about 10% people have awareness there is an autonomous bus in Bakabi, but they have not seen it themselves. Only about 1% people said they do not know the existence of the autonomous bus in Bakabi. And in wave 2, more people report that they have seen the autonomous bus themselves. For people who took the autonomous bus before, about 87% people said that they took the bus no more than 5 times. Only 7% people take the bus 6 to 10 times. And wave 2 data show that although more people took the bus more than 5 times, the number increased not much. Also, the descriptive analysis show that for the purpose to use the autonomous bus for the first time, around 90% people said they took the bus for the first time just for fun and curiosity. And for user, for the use intention in the regular days, the wave 1 data show that most people prefer to take the bus for shopping, leisure, and work activity. And wave 2 data shows that people still like to take the autonomous bus for these 3 reasons. And more people said that they would like to take the autonomous bus for work. We also examine public's perception related to the driving speed, reliability, and the convenience, and also safety of the autonomous bus, and discuss the attitudinal differences among people who took the bus before, and the prospective adopters and people who said they do not want to take the bus in the future. For the perception of driving speed and travel time, the results show that perceptions of driving speed of the autonomous bus is not high. The majority of respondents show that the autonomous buses would be slower or much slower than the conventional bus. And among these 3 groups, the results tells us the people, these non-adopters had the most negative perceptions of the autonomous bus. For the perception of reliability and convenience, our results show that public perceptions of the reliability of the autonomous buses is also relatively low. The majority of respondents said that they believe the reliability of the autonomous bus would be same or worse than the reliability of a regular bus. However, in terms of how convenient the autonomous bus system is, the majority of respondents indicated that they assume the convenience of the autonomous buses would be the same to the conventional buses. Lastly, for the perception of safety, it was found that when an operator is on board to provide customer services, the majority of respondents said that they would feel the autonomous bus is safe enough for them. However, if there is no operator on board, the perception of safety, most of the respondents said that it is not safe for them to take the bus, which indicates that the presence of onboard operators has a positive impact on respondents' perceived safety. Okay, so in order to test how these attitudinal factors would influence the behavior intention of the autonomous buses, discrete choice models were used in this study. First, principal component analysis was conducted to explore the interrelationship between these 7 attitudinal statements. As a result, 3 new factors was combined and classified. Using the discrete choice models, the results show that attitudinal factors such as perception of safety, driving speed, reliability, and convenience have significant influences on the people's willingness to use such a new bus system. And compare the impacts of age and travel habits between people who took the bus before and people who did not took the bus. The results show that as an emerging transportation mode, autonomous buses are expected to attract younger people and regular public transport mode users in the future. However, for other social demographic characteristics, such as gender and income or car ownership, these variables are not found to have any significant impacts on people's willingness to use the new bus mode. And using the discrete choice model, the effects of individuals' perceptions on behavior intention was examined. Besides that, most studies found that mobility decisions are influenced by subjective norms. The subjective norm here is defined as individuals perceive the social pressure from other people or groups who are important to them and wish them to perform in a certain way. So we propose the hypothesis that people's families, friends, or colleagues may influence the attitudes of individuals and thus influence their decisions to use the autonomous bus. Also, the key to success in adopting new technology is to meeting users' needs and expectations. So we assume that travel demands and users' needs would positively influence the use intention. Moreover, introducing a new technology into market, positive word-of-mouth communication is one of the most effective marketing strategies to attract new users. So it is assumed that attitudes, subjective norms, and the users' needs would positively influence the word-of-mouth behavior and to recommend the service to other people. And also we assume that individuals' behavior intention has a direct effect on the word-of-mouth behavior. And lastly, based on the behavior models, behavior intention is assumed that one of the most important factors influencing performance of the behavior. However, to examine the influence of behavior intention on actual behavior, most previous studies are based on the cross-sectional data. Thus, no data were used to test the effects on actual behavior in the real world. So to fill this research gap, panel data were used in this study. For behavior intention and other subjective factor, we used the wave 2 data. And the actual behavior data was collected through the wave 3 survey. A structure equation model was used in this study. Our results show that among these three subjective factors, users' needs and travel demands have the strongest power to influence people's willingness to use the bus and recommend the service to other people, and which suggests that meeting current and potential users' travel demands can significant influence the user intention and improve the recommendation of the service. So from the marketing perspective, it is important to understand preferences and needs among different groups of potential travelers, and thus increase the market share of the new bus mode. And besides that, individual attitudes and the subjective norms are also found have positively impacts on behavior intention and also the word of mouth behavior. Lastly, our results show that individuals' behavior intention is found has no significant impact on actual behavior in this study, which means that there is still a gap between the behavior intention and the actual usage of the autonomous buses. Thus, future studies are needed to explain the gap between the intention and the actual use of the autonomous buses. Okay, so this study provides an understanding of how different subjective factors influence the individual's behavior intention and the word of mouth behavior. And there are still some limitation to this study and could be improved in the future research. First, the autonomous bus is expected to play an important role in the future transport system. So with more riding experiences and the development of the new technology, individuals' attitudes towards the new bus system will change over time. Thus, more studies based on the panel data will should be done in the next step to explore if a user perception of the bus change or not, and whether these changes would influence the behavior intention and the actual usage of the bus. Second, our results found that meeting users' needs and travel demands would largely influence the use intention and the word of mouth behavior of the autonomous bus. So it is interesting to know the different groups of motivation to use this new bus mode. Lastly, previous study reported that behavior intention would positively influence the actual behavior. However, similar results are not found in our study, which suggests that there's still a gap between the behavior intention and also there's a gap between the behavior intention and the actual usage of the bus. So the future research, it would be interesting to explore the inferential factor to improve the intention and the behavior gap and increase users' actual adoptions of this new bus mode.